Broadcasting from the Symphony studio in Marietta, Georgia, it's time for the Technology Harmony podcast, brought to you by Symphony Technology Solutions. Tune in every week as we spotlight the very best minds in our industry. Now, here are your hosts.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the 8th episode of the Technology Harmony podcast, brought to you by Symphony Technology Solutions. I'm your host, Symphony's Marketing Manager, Katie Galley. In this series, we speak with and learn from the top thought leaders in the technology space. In the Symphony studio with us today, we have the CEO at BroadStaff and the host of the 5G Talent Talk podcast, Carrie Charles. How are you doing, Carrie?
I'm great, Katie. Thanks so much for having me on today.
Absolutely. I'm super excited to dive in, Carrie, and learn more from you. I'm an avid listener of the 5G Talent Talk podcast. It's a great podcast. So I'm excited to learn more about that. Absolutely. So Carrie, just to get to know your background a little bit, can you tell us about your professional journey and how you ended up with the job that you have today?
Yes. Actually, I've had quite an eclectic past. I actually started out as a Marine.
Wow.
In telecommunications, which was very, very interesting because I had no intention to continue on that path in telecom. So then I got into the financial services industry, got my CFP, and then owned and operated a number of companies, and then found myself in a position where I was very passionate about helping businesses and people. And I got a few coaching certifications and became a life and business coach, executive coach, career coach. And that was just such a rewarding time in my life. I did that for about 7 years. And then my current business partner started BroadStaff, and he came to me and he said, gosh, I just started this new company. It's awesome. And I'd love for you to join us if you would. And I was 49 years old at the time. My kids were getting ready to go to college. I was going to be an empty nester. And I thought, gosh, I know nothing about staffing, about telecom, technology. That's not my field, but I'm a yes. What's next for my next adventure in life? And so I said, let's do it. Let's build and grow the company, and I'll figure it all out. So that was 5 years ago, and I have just worked harder in the past 5 years than I've ever worked in my life. I have fallen so in love with telecom and also with staffing. And, it's just been a phenomenal experience, really. And I'm so glad to be here right now because the company is just, one of my greatest successes in my life right now.
I love that. I mean, like you said, you just had to say yes, walk through that door of opportunity. You didn't know where it was going to lead, but it led you to a really amazing place where you're at now. And
right.
So, Carrie, like you said, back when you were in the Marines, being in telecom in your future was not something you really had intended. So what is it today about telecom, about staffing that really causes you to be passionate about those two areas?
So my whole life, I have had a passion for people. Helping people live a great life, changing lives, helping people get from point A to point B and overcome adversity and break through barriers and reach their goals. And I really feel like that staffing and recruiting is a culmination of all of those dreams and desires that I've had, because what we do at BroadStaff is we don't just do staffing and recruiting. I mean, we literally change people's lives. We get them a new career, a new job, and really help people to get to that next level in life. So it feels so good every time. Even just yesterday, we made a phone call and to a candidate saying, you got the job, and he was so excited and just yelling on the phone and so happy. And he's like, this is so awesome for my family and for my future. And, that's what I love about staffing. And the other thing I love is we actually can make the greatest impact on a company through talent, because people are the greatest resources that a company has. So when we take a highly talented individual or group of people and place them with a company, it can really transform that company. So we have that's another piece of staffing that I absolutely love, is helping people grow, or helping people change their lives, and helping companies grow.
And you're right. I mean, it's so much more than just placing someone, getting them a job in whatever space. It's like you said, it's changing their lives, because it's their livelihood. It's something that they can carry with them, impact their family and the lives of others.
Exactly.
Right. I love that. And so, Carrie, from there, now working with BroadStaff and growing the company like you have in the past 5 years, how did the 5G Talent Talk podcast kind of come up out of that, and what is kind of the purpose and the mission behind it?
So over the years, I've noticed that, we've had some issues in telecom in the areas of workforce development, the skills gaps, and, companies have really been struggling to find the right talent and the skilled talent to get done what they need to get done, and also to make 5G a reality. And so I started, again, this was another passion, because I saw that there was a big problem and I thought, I need to make a difference here. Mm-hmm. So I started speaking on this subject and writing and talking to companies and groups and organizations and conferences and saying, look, we've got a problem. Okay, this is a little problem now, and it's going to be a really big problem later if we don't do something about it. And we start training people and coming up with solutions to solve this. So I was speaking at a conference for Verizon, and I met the founder and president CEO of RCR Wireless News and Telecom Careers, and he said, let's do something together, because I love your platform, love what you're doing. And I said, that's a great idea. I have an enormous amount of respect for RCR Wireless News as well as Telecom Careers. And he said, why don't we do a podcast? So I'm the kind of person that, again, I'm always a yes. And the bigger it is and the more it scares me and the more that I have no idea what I'm doing, I'm going to end up doing it, right? And trying to figure it out. I'd never done a podcast before. I'd done some radio, but boy, is it different, right? I mean, it's totally different than being a guest on a radio show. So I said yes. And I thought, I want to be a voice for change in workforce development, diversity, and talent for this industry, so I can help to make a difference. And we can really, really make 5G a reality from a human capital perspective, which is what we're missing right now. So I named it 5G Talent Talk, and I just set off on this grand adventure to create the podcast. It's been wonderful. I'm enjoying it. I've gotten to interview some phenomenal people, and I've learned a lot as well. The podcast is kind of a combination of tech and talent. Mm-hmm. So it's really to educate the wireless, wireline, telecom tech community on what's happening out there with 5G right now, and how does that relate to the people element and the people component. So it's been a lot of fun, but more than anything else, I really want to be a voice, and a voice for transformation, change, upgrading, really helping us all to come together to solve our workforce challenges in the industry.
And you're right. I mean, podcasting it's such a unique animal, but it's amazing because you get to spotlight these incredible individuals, but in turn, you get to learn from them too, through their stories and their own journeys and their experiences, and then specifically too, in that 5G space. And so, Carrie, with 5G Talent Talk, I know you said the reasoning behind why it's Genesis and why you want to promote it and push it out there. Where do you see your podcast growing to, and what's your ultimate goal with it?
That's a great question, because I just love always going to the next level. Like, what's next? What's next? I've already, we've done this. Where can we take it to from there? And how can we affect a bigger change than we have? So what we're doing now, in partnership with RCR Wireless News, is we are going to start offering sponsorships for 5G Talent Talk. And so what I've done is I hired a new production company for my podcast, and they're really going to help me take it to the next level. I truly believe in asking for help from people who are smarter than I am and who have more experience than I do. So I found the number one, which I think it is, podcast production company in the world, and they're going to help me really take it to the next level. So what we're going to do, and which I'm excited that we're doing this today, is we are going to add video to the podcast. So we'll have video and audio, and we're going to transcribe the podcast and then place it, create a blog and place it on the RCR site as well. And all of that is our goal is to increase the downloads and increase the listeners, because we want more people to hear this message, not only to create change and to have voices be heard, but also really to get the message out there and help companies to have a voice as well, to show why is it a great, X company a great place to work? And are you hiring right now? And where do people find out about you so they can apply for jobs there? So we want to help companies have a voice so they can attract more quality, skilled labor, and also so people can get jobs, because there's a lot of people, millions of people right now that need help. And telecom needs help finding jobs. And we also want to be a vehicle with 5G Talent Talk and BroadStaff to help telecom get hired.
I love that, bridging that gap. And so it's fulfilling a need on both ends of that. And so too, that's amazing having the chance to kind of spread the message. So with your podcast on audio, video, on white papers, that text, it's then kind of blanketing where you're putting the content out there in a way that anybody could, they could receive it in the way that they want to, whether they want to read it, listen to it, watch it.
Exactly. Because some people do, they just like audio. They don't want to watch a video. And, they're on the treadmill at the gym or driving. And then other people love to, I love video. I'm visual. Yeah. So it really helps to get that, help everyone to feel that they're included and, that they have the medium that they enjoy.
Absolutely. And so now, Carrie, too, it's amazing. That's really awesome that you guys are making that shift with 5G Talent Talk and spreading that message to help others, encourage others. But then, too, everything that's going on in the world, specifically with the coronavirus, everything that's happened with COVID-19, how have you seen different impacts on the telecom and the staffing space, and maybe just some adaptations that have been made, or maybe you see that need to be made because of what's been going on?
There's been a massive shift in power because of COVID-19. And what I mean by that is back in December and January, unemployment was the lowest that it's been in decades. And the power really was held by the candidate because they had so many choices. And there's been a massive shift just in a few months where that power has been transferred to the employer. Because I think at the end of May, there were over 40 million jobless claims. Like 1 in 4 Americans were jobless. And it's been this shift where the employer now is in control because the employee has less choices. And so because of such a fast shift, everyone is still kind of reeling from that and figuring out, okay, how do I behave? What do I do? How do I react to this? I need a job. How do I get this done? It's just been very, very challenging. Now, in telecom specifically, because we're an essential service, we're not feeling the effects quite the same way as other industries. And I'll let you know why. So we're busier than we've ever been at BroadStaff. I've hired 5 people this week. We're very, very busy in the area of outside plant, fiber construction. We are still short on skilled labor in certain areas. So that power shift has not occurred fully in the telecom world just yet because we are still in high demand for skilled labor, especially right now in the fiber construction arena. So that's one thing that's really shifted because of COVID. And then there's areas of telecom now where companies have a bench. They have extra people, in other words, that they've been reserving for particular projects, maybe with T-Mobile, and there's been some slowdown there. So they're not hiring more people right now because they have the people and they're trying to keep them busy until things come back. So there has been some slowdown, especially on the wireless side right now. But all that is coming back. I'm bullish. I'm hopeful. I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that things are going to start moving. We've already seen an uptick just recently in the past couple of weeks. That's why I had to hire more people. But there's been, there's still so many people that need jobs and that need help right now. And I think that's one thing that, my message is to hiring managers and leaders, prepare, upgrade your talent. There's phenomenal people that you would never have had access to 6 months ago because they were working and they would have not left. You have access to them now. So go ahead and invest. Even though you may not need this person right now, you will in 3 months. You will in 4 months. So go ahead and invest in this talent now because you would have never had the ability to get them a few months ago. So there's incredible opportunity right now to hire just some of the best of our industry.
Wow. And so how do you go about then, like you said, telling these staffers or these people to bring on these individuals, even if they're not needed right now, they will be needed in a few months. It will be like a really good hire. So how do you kind of bridge that educational gap and really express to them that this really is a necessary hire?
Yeah, that's a challenging conversation.
Yeah.
Especially when everyone's trying to save money right now.
Right.
It's tough. What we're doing is our model is a cross between looking, we're helping companies that are desperately in need of talent, desperately in need of on the construction side, like I was talking about. Mm-hmm. But then there's also people that are coming to us that are highly talented and skilled, and they're rock stars, and they're saying, hey, I just got laid off, furloughed, and I'm looking for something. So what we do is we approach a company and, with that conversation in mind, just letting them know, look, you have an opportunity here. Bite the bullet for a couple of months, 2 or 3 months to pay the salary because this person is an A player and they're going to be significant in your future. The other thing is it's a great time to upgrade talent as well. I mean, there's companies, there's people who just aren't a fit or they're not excelling in their roles. And it's an awesome opportunity for a company to upgrade that talent and put the right person in the right seat.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I love that, being able to kind of go after it in that way. And so being able to bridge that gap. Like you said, it's kind of a hard conversation to have, but it's necessary. And so being able to educate on both sides of it. So Carrie, thank you so much for taking the time to share your story and your journey and everything that BroadStaff is doing. And also with 5G Talent Talk, if someone wanted to learn more about you, about BroadStaff, subscribe to the podcast, where might they do all of that?
Sure. So they can go to carriecharles.com. That's CarrieCharles.com or BroadStaffGlobal.com.
Thank you all for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. To learn more about our guest and their company, check out the show notes for the relevant links. If you would like to learn more about us here at Symphony, of course, subscribe to our podcast on our YouTube channel. And don't forget to follow us on LinkedIn and Facebook at Symphony Technology Solutions and on Instagram at Symphony Tech Solutions. Here at Symphony, our ultimate goal is to make harmonious music out of all the technological noise. And we hope today's episode helped in doing just that. See you next time.